Hello. What would you do if you found a bag with 10 million cedis in it? This was the question my friend Kweku Amiyawekumfi asked me one hot afternoon in 1984. I was 5 years old. My family had just moved back home to Ghana, and I had just made my first friend, the boy next door. We were sitting on the steps outside my mother's kitchen, and my new friend was getting to know me. I had already answered the crucial questions of, do you have a football? And what will happen if we set fire to a lizard's tail? Yeah, when we brought up this important moral and ethical quandary. So after a few moments of silence, my simple answer was, I would give the bag to my daddy so he can take it to the police station. Kweku burst out laughing. You two are foolish, Papa. If you don't want to chop money, why do you want the policeman to chop it for you? Thinking back, that may well have been the beginning of my loss of innocence, that realization that there are people who disagree with my parents' strict moral code and that such people thought it was foolish to do the right thing. In 1984, that was my introduction to Ghana. Fast forward 36 years, and I'm wondering whether my motherland has changed at all. Do people still think it's foolish to do the right thing? Well, let's see. What would you think of a police officer who refused your bribe and insisted on taking you to court for a traffic offense? What would you think of a journalist who refused to take your solly in exchange for writing a story in your favor? How would you feel if the professor who helped your son gain admission to university returned the crates of drinks and bags of rice, etc. that you sent him as a thank you? If you handed a thick brown envelope to your local ECG officer for an illegal connection that nobody would ever find out about and he declined, what would you think of him? Be honest, would you not think that all these people are dumb to turn down free money for something they will never be penalized for? In Ghana, it seems we ridicule our saints and revere our sinners. For us, the real crime is to fail to take advantage of any situation where you can profit illegally without getting caught. It's almost as if the only real sin for a Ghanaian is to break the 11th commandment, thou shalt not get caught. If a government minister completes his tenure and returns to the same bungalow he lived in before his appointment, people will laugh at him. His own family will call him names and ridicule him for going all the way to the top and coming back empty-handed. But if within the first year of his appointment, this same minister were to build 2 houses and a filling station in East Legon, his family would sing his praises and his church would make him harvest chairman every Sunday. My dear friends, when did we become like this? When did we decide that it was wrong to do the right thing? When did we decide that the real heroes among us are those who get away with murder? What message are we sending to our children when we introduce them to rich politicians who didn't even own bicycles before they went into government? And we now call them honorable. When we get stopped by the police and we place phone calls to our friends in high places who get us off the hook, and then we drive on to drop our kids at Sunday school, what are we really teaching those children? For some of us, it's too late. We have created a system that makes it too easy for us to do the wrong thing and get away with it. But if we allow this cancer of moral misdirection to infect the next generation, that would be a truly unforgivable crime. It was African-American Congressman J.C. Watts who once said, "Character is doing the right thing when nobody is looking." There are too many people who think that the only thing that is right is to get by, and the only thing that is wrong is to get caught. My name is Kojo Yankson, and as long as the sky remains above and the earth below, right will never be wrong, and wrong will never be right. Good morning, Ghana.
Hello, good morning and welcome to the AM News with me, Mabisa Sibidi. In our first story, the minority in Parliament says it will oppose any attempt to constitute a joint committee to probe election-related violence filed by 4 majority MPs. The motion by the majority MPs, according to the minority colleagues, is simply a reaction to the motion to investigate circumstances leading to the violence during the 2020 polls. Member of Parliament for Ningo Pram Sam George believes it is an attempt to stampede the attempt to expose individuals behind the 2020 electoral violence.
This is back to even psychology next time. We don't care. What we are interested in is the killing and murder of 7 Ghanaian citizens by members of the Ghana Armed Forces and Security Services during the conduct of the 7th, 8th, and 9th of December 2020. That is what we are interested in. I will be shocked if the Speaker would want to consolidate the motions. There are 2 independent motions. So we can have 2 different committees. That's why I'm saying that, look, this is an attempt to filibuster. Look, the parliamentary practice of filibustering, this is a filibustering attempt by the majority to just filibuster the process and make it look like, make it a stupid case. Sorry. We will give them their 1993 investigation. And I'm saying that we can even send it back to 1957 or say next time for them. But that is independent and completely different from the motion that was filed by Haruna Idrisu, Muntaka Mobara, Okujeto Ablakwa, and Suhini on the issues of 7th, 8th, and 9th of December 2020. That will stand alone as an investigation on its own. Anybody who wants, and we will oppose any attempts by anybody in the House to make it a joint investigation.
The majority MPs on their part want the probe to cover all such election-related violence since the inception of the Fourth Republic. Member of Parliament for Inshiaso, Stephen Amwa, argues the investigation will enable the country to establish a blueprint for dealing with the problem.
Political violence started CPP Martin Hotan. Then it actually went off. There wasn't anything like that in our society till PNDC, NDC came. Talansi, Benabe, Etiwa, Asokwa, Esnafonov, in the Brown Half. You heard all those stories. People were battered like is it fresh meat? And I have samples here. They are all here. One young pastor was killed, and they are all here just recently. So what we are saying is that whether it happened under NDC or MP, it is unacceptable. So if we are making a call, let's expand it so that we know the root cause, and make sure that we find an eternal solution or everlasting solution to it.
Wouldn't that be more of chasing the wind? Because as we speak, those who may have perpetuated the 93, 96, 2000 election may have that. Of course, it's a recent election.
Exactly. So what we are saying
it is proper and prudent that you investigate the matter.
Any honest, God-fearing person who is a Ghanaian and wants solution and not being political or partial will call for all regimes that we can have access to data with respect to violence and find out the root cause, the remote cause, or the immediate cause.
Are you seeking to stampede this investigation by the NDC?
I'm making it more efficient.
Away from that, the government has pledged to collaborate with the teacher unions to resolve all outstanding matters regarding their conditions of service. This comes after the unions issued an April 31st ultimatum for government to pay up their delayed allowances. Speaking on the sidelines of the launch of the 90th anniversary of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, Education Minister Dr. ADUTWUM assured the ministry was working with the unions to resolve the matter. Manuel Konting was at that event and reports.
It has always been a childhood dream to be a teacher. So when that dream was fulfilled, I was very happy that I'm a teacher because I'll be able to impact same knowledge given me to the children. So that is why I'm very happy to be a teacher.
I'm proud to be a teacher because I'm impacting knowledge and changing lives. Especially when I see my students climbing high in the teaching profession or other professions, I feel very proud.
Some teachers speaking about how proud they feel when they see their students climbing up the professional ladder. For them, the opportunity to impact the lives of other people is a real proof of service. In Ghana, much as teachers make up the pivot of professional development, Stories abound about how some of them battle to make ends meet, especially those in the rural areas.
Teachers at the remote areas they don't have the best condition of service. Let me calm down. The fringe benefits as those teachers in the cities. So if governments will come to the aid of teachers at the remote areas, like something like allowances for them to enhance their standard of living.
Remuneration of teachers in the country. If you look at where the teachers in this country find themselves in teaching, accommodation for the teacher is a big challenge. Material that the teacher will use in working is a big challenge, because presently we are implementing a new curriculum at the primary level. For the past 2 years, the teacher is using the manual without a textbook that will help the teacher to deliver effectively.
The remuneration of teachers is very, very bad. Yes, so you spend a lot of energy trying to impact knowledge, but what you get in return does not match. So I would say that it's a sacrificial job that we are doing. If you don't have the love for the work and you look at the remuneration, comparing the two, you see that you can't do much. But because of the love we have for the work, we are trying our best
to upgrade themselves. And instead of them to be promoted, it has taken long, almost getting to 3 years now. Most of them have not been promoted. Secondly, when you take the ranks from senior superintendent 2, coming to senior sup 1 before they get to the principal superintendent, as at now, their promotion has not even been said by the employers. And we are hoping that very soon the sector minister, in collaboration with the GS, will be able to roll up a roadmap to upgrade all those affected teachers.
From issues with their conditions of service through salary packages, the teacher unions have constantly lamented the delay by successive governments in dealing with their issues. The latest of these is an end of April 2021 ultimatum given to government over their responsibility allowance and promotion matters. Speaking on the sidelines of the launch of the 90th anniversary of the Ghana National Association, President of the Union, Mrs. Philippa Larson, stressed that these issues must be settled to avoid any industrial action.
Because of some of the delays in implementing some of the decisions we take, the issue of the allowances, for instance, the responsibility allowance and the arrears and all that, they are issues that we have discussed over and over. And it's like we are getting frustrated and so disappointed. And that is how come we issued a statement. And we have given them up to the end of April. And if nothing is done about it, we'll come out and people will hear from us.
On his part, Minister of Education Dr. Yao ADUTWUM said government was engaging with the teachers to resolve the matter.
Water is something that we need to celebrate. And today, as they celebrate 90th, the President of the Republic is saying that definitely teacher welfare is something that he's committed to. Last year, professional allowances were introduced and paid. This year, 1 teacher, 1 laptop is being implemented. What the President is saying is that teachers are the centerpiece of his education transformation agenda. I'm a teacher at the core. I've been a teacher for years. I'll work with the unions to resolve any outstanding issues.
In the Ashanti region, the Ghana Water Company has warned that 2 production dams in the region may be shut down, putting water consumers in Kumasi in jeopardy. Consumers complain they are now overburdened by unreliability and high water costs. To save the situation, the current wave of encroachment on dams buffers must come to an end. Ohimintera has more in the following reports.
An artist, Matthias Chobe, like many other residents who depend on the Ghana Water Company for drinking water, is unaware of the dam's current risk. Yet, he acknowledges the consequences if the dams are shut down.
If the dam should be closed down, I don't know how we are going to survive, because even with the irregularities, it's not easy. So I think the necessary institutions need to take this very serious and then, take action.
Encroachers' activities are reducing the depths of the water facilities, putting the future of the Wabi and Barakasi dams in jeopardy. The Barakasi Dam has lost 3 meters of its 13-meter depth. while the Awabi Dam's 7-meter depth has sharply lost 5 meters. Every dam's catchment has been decreased by more than half due to illegal sand winning, farming and housing construction. Alfred Galanku and John Kopo are station managers for Awabi Dam and Barakese Dams respectively.
If all the trees fell down, the evaporation will take place and the water will dry up, and we cannot get water to treat or to supply the people. The source of obstruction, we have down, middle and upper obstruction to the treatment site. But due to siltation, the down and the middle have been silted. So we are now using the upper. In future, if the upper to silt, there will be no water flow to the treatment site.
The main activities happening in our catchment that are affecting our operations are illegal farming activities, mainly cocoa farms, sand winning, and felling of trees. And these activities together bring us a lot of challenges in the siltation and then in the pollution of our water.
The illegal activities, coupled with other factors, are impacting negatively on water production. Because of high levels of siltation and turbidity in the dams, the Ghana Water Company's treatment cost and time have increased.
When we talk about the farming, they use fertilizers and weedicides, and all this increase the chemical composition of our water. Most dangerous is the fertilizers, because the fertilizers that they use, they introduce nutrients into our water. When this happens, it promotes the growth of algae. Algae also increases the color and turbidity of our water, and that is what makes the treatment difficult.
This explains why residents like Matthias have to deal with erratic water supply.
As an artist, we need water because we normally use acrylic paint, and then acrylic paint we use water to dilute and then do mixes before you can do your work. But as it stands now, there is this irregularity in the flow of water at Maxima Junction, where you can't actually predict when you are going to be having water or not.
Another resident, Daniel Chobi, shares a similar opinion.
I work with 2M Express as a driver. Sometimes the tap does not flow, to the extent that after a long journey you might even end up sleeping without even bathing, which is very bad.
The future of the two dams will remain in jeopardy unless drastic steps are taken to get the situation under.
And hello again, welcome. This is the AM show. My name is Gifty Andopi, and guess who has joined me right now in studio? Joseph Akable. Joseph, we've not done this before, have we?
You mean doing a review on the show? Yes, this is the first time.
Anyway.
I was just framing the question properly and answering.
It's okay.
I like your frames. They are beautiful.
I know, I like it too.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I have the Daily Graphic newspaper for us to start the news review, and I like penny to penny all the time. So, government waives import duties, and Joseph, it's interesting because most of the newspapers are reporting on, you know, the politics and the Supreme Court and AMEU and everything. Daily Graphic takes a complete different view. Government waives import duties, and that story is by Ama Amankwa Befi. It says that the government has waived duties on imported equipment, machines and raw materials for local manufacturing companies to enable them become competitive in the global marketplace. And of course, this is linked to the AFCFTA, the AFTA. It's a very interesting one, I think, and we might, if we have time, we might go a little bit into details. Other stories on the front page of the Daily Graphic: NPRA retrieves 3.1 million from defaulters. That story is on page 16 of the Daily Graphic. And Supreme Court maintains AMEU in Parliament, also on page 16. And of course, let's take a look at the back page. GIZ provides meals for frontline workers and vulnerable groups. U.S. Embassy present equipment to Ghana Armed Forces. The center spread has it's entirely dedicated to fighting galamsey, and that is the topic there as well. Fighting galamsey verdict, picking up the pieces. So it has so many pictures of, you know, the destruction to our ecosystem, and it has pictures of, you know, equipment being put on fire, etc. That's the daily graphic for you, Joseph.
The front page of the Daily Guide now, and Supreme Court throws Chachu out. Amewu affirmed MP also on the front page. AG gives IGP 1 week to report on spousal murders. And court hears kidnappers' phone calls. And man kills wife and deposits body at morgue. The story on page 6 of the Daily Guide. The back page has some sports stories. Barreto talks tough. The new Asante Kotoko coach, and Ronaldo apologizes for awful haircut. It's another story there. And Awako explains Black Stars' brilliance. It's another story on the back page of the Daily Guide. Gifty, I'm not sure you remember this Ronaldo haircut. I remember it so well.
You're not sure I remember, but you remember so well. Can you imagine that?
I mean, from way back, but I'm surprised that years on after he's retired, I mean, we don't need to apologize. We loved it. We were fascinated by it.
Why is it? Or why do they call it awful? Obiara in the style. I mean, people. Have you seen?
But he's the one apologizing years on.
Yeah, but who's complaining to him?
I'm surprised.
Well, anyway, you know, sometimes because of the pandemic, I think people feel like they need we need comic relief. We need comic relief, so it's okay. It's okay. We'll take it. We'll accept the apology. But that haircut, though, Joseph, you should try it.
No, I'm not trying it.
Oh, I mean, this will be allowed in the courts, no?
I'm okay with this way.
Okay
just let me manage this one.
Okay, all right. Okay, let me continue with the Statesman. The Daily Statesman has a picture of Ken Oforiatta. The banner headline: Ghana makes history. The story is on page 2. It says that Ghana makes history, issues Africa's first ever zero coupon Eurobond. So zero coupon Eurobond, so just like no interest, like sort of interest free Eurobond. Okay, that story is on page 2. NPP MPs request probe into electoral violence from 1993. And this story comes with a picture of Frank Anodompre, Majority Chief Whip OSEI, Bonsu Amwa, that's Obi Amwa, Ekwapim South MP, Samuel Atachia, Ebuaka South MP, and Alexander Afenyo Markin. Very interesting story. We'll be talking about that one later here on the show as well. On the back page, Baba Rahman says, "I nearly retired." Columbus crew congratulate Jonathan Mensah on EA award, and struggling Inter Allies asks coach Dani Mojkanovic. Okay, I'm sure that I got that one right. Yeah, that's about the major stories you find in the Daily Statesman. You want to grab yourself a copy. Tisala West MP6 urgent answers to road health issues. Will there ever be answers? They're also reporting on Amewu Sohoi parliamentary victory affirmed by the Supreme Court, and Attorney General calls for adequate training for police officers. That's the angle. They chose the meeting between the IGP and the Attorney General on.
The Ghanaian Times has the story about the Supreme Court SAR review application. The Supreme Court dismisses case against Amewu, and President Akufo-Addo advocates partnership between Africa and Europe. And NAT, that is the National Association, Ghana National Association of Teachers, launches 90th anniversary celebration in Accra. Farmer jailed 10 years for defiling an 11-year-old girl. It's also on page 3 of the Ghanaian Times. The back page has this story about the Ghana Water Company Limited beginning spillage of water from Wager Dam, says it's not liable for loss of life and property. And the after that you spoke about won't make country dumping ground for foreign goods, is the Trade Minister speaking.
We need that sort of intervention.
Yeah.
Is that all?
We can do the Finder now on the front page of the Finder quickly. Angry contractors descend on ECG MD for non-payment of work done. And investors renew confidence in Ghana as $3 billion, a 4-year zero coupon bond oversubscribed to $6 billion. And NAT laments terrible working conditions as it launches 90th anniversary. Hospital equipment, surgical and disposable medical supplies in shortage. Details of that story on page 5.
In shortage where?
So
in Ghana?
Details on page 5. Let me go there quickly. It says so many buyers who will be looking for medical tools may find them difficult to acquire. Yes, here in Ghana, as dealers in hospital equipment, surgical and disposable medical goods have warned of a possible shortage of these supplies. So it goes on.
Do they attribute this problem?
It says Kolebu has ordered about 1,000 cartons of examination gloves. We only have 4 boxes left. They said high cost is driving away sales, and COVID-19 and its impact. There's also the issue of reduced shipping charges, which they think can help deal with the issue. And medical practitioners have confirmed the shortage of the examination gloves. So they visited the Kolebu Hospital, where some medical practitioners spoke to them on condition of anonymity and confirmed that indeed they don't have some of these gloves to use.
I mean, that's a serious story. With COVID-19, the last thing you want to have is a shortage of medical aids like that. Anyway, I have the Daily Dispatch. Gridco in discussion with ECG over Dumso timetable, and it comes with a picture of Dr. Opoku Prempeh, Minister for Energy. Well, he has had to zoom into that particular part of our national history at the Energy Ministry. That story is on page 12 on the Daily Dispatch newspaper. On 2020 parliamentary results, 50 is on page 50 or 52. I'm not quite sure what this is, but it's on page 3, pages 3 and 6. Improve our conditions of service. NAT appeals as they celebrate 90 years. Story on page 2. And 87-year-old Ejako Nimo's work being digitized by KNUST. I think it's long overdue. Fantastic idea, by the way. On the back page, you have a picture of Gabi as our Ochedako there. It says, investor confidence back. Let's ride with it. Gabi is saying that. And then you also have the Gridco story. Okay, let me take a look at this Gridco story, Akable. It says that the Grid Company Limited says it was having a discussion with the Electricity Company of Ghana for them to provide a load shedding timetable following major maintenance works expected in the power sector from April to July 2021. The corporate communications manager of Gridco, Ms. Ebenezer Mankwa, in a radio interview with Radio Ghana monitored by Graphic Online on Monday night, explained that some parts of Ghana will soon experience intermittent power outages to enable engineers and contractors work on some substation plants across the country. That story is on the back page of the Daily Dispatch. So, have you, I mean, I think on Saturday and Sunday, almost the whole of Saturday, I didn't have lights in my house. On Sunday as well, half of the day was...
I mean, it's a situation that almost everyone is experiencing. In my area, it's relatively stable, but it's an issue of concern. And I listened to the Gridco communications manager. He says they are upgrading a number of the equipment, and from between now and July, they are expecting that they'll be able to finish it. So they are trying to come out with a timetable. I mean, I think if that is the actual situation, then the timetable should come out as immediately as possible.
No, I mean, it should have come out like yesterday, because you see, and this is what you do when you have people, when you're thinking about the people you're serving. I think this is how it works. You know that I'm going to turn off the light, but I know that it will affect this group of people. So at least communicate that ahead of time. But people didn't know anything. We just started experiencing the power outages. We started talking, and now we're discussing coming out with
I think the bottom line of the power distributor needs to understand that it's like a contract. So you're asking me to supply water for. If I can't supply water for you, or you want me to, I sell mobile phones. If I can't give you the mobile phone today, I need to inform you that I'm not giving you the mobile phone today.
Exactly.
People run their businesses based on the electricity availability, and they are paying for it. It's not free. Electricity is not free.
Exactly.
So it needs to be available as soon as possible. And it is very worrying that, I mean, they wait till this time. Is it now that we have to be doing the maintenance? I mean,
well, I mean, the maintenance has to be done. It has to be done, because I'm sure that if you don't do it now,
done at a time, because clearly, if it is being done periodically over a certain period, we will not have a situation where we now have to be shedding so much load, so that we have to now be distributing where it goes off at which point, which side.
But we're not, to be very honest, to be very fair to them, we're not experts. We're not technical people. So I don't understand how their scheduling is like. But what I understand is that as an expert, I expect you to have enough expertise to be able to put in place measures that will make sure that if you're going to cut cut off power, it won't affect the people you're serving that much, you know. Because, I mean, if you raise this argument, they're going to say, you people, you are sitting in the studio and you're just talking. That's what they say.
We just want our lights on. I mean, that's all.
Exactly.
And we hope that they're able to work within the time frame that they've indicated. He said March at one point. He also said July. Let's just hope.
Yeah, this one says July. This one says July. But what we want to know is, I mean, if there has to be any load shedding plan, it should have come a long time ago. Now we don't have it. We're experiencing, and it's very, very inconveniencing. And we're talking about bouncing back our economy post-COVID. This is certainly not something that we want to do if we want to get serious with our post-COVID economic recovery program. All right, so a lot of ranting there. Joseph, you have another paper?
Yes, just some story on page 3 of the Ghanaian Times. The story about a farmer being jailed 10 years for defiling an 11-year-old girl. And so we are told that the Asante Joab Circuit Court has sentenced 19-year-old farmer to 10 years imprisonment for defiling an 11-year-old girl. The convict, Kwame Ansa, was said to have defiled the girl at Mayenam in the Asante Achim North District. He pleaded guilty. Okay, so I was actually wondering why he was given the 10 years, because I know they could go between, for defilement, 7 to 25 years.
Okay, so you felt like 10 years was a bit...
Yes, but because he admitted to the offense and he pleaded guilty, so he was convicted on his own plea, and so that explains why he got that 10 years. But it's very unfortunate there.
Does the story describe the situation of the girl, the current state of the girl's health, for example?
See if I'll find it here. It says that on March 13 this year, the victim and her younger brother were on their way to the mosque when the convict ordered them to stop. He said that when he stopped, the convict dragged the girl into a nearby bush and forcibly had sex with her. The victim's younger brother ran up to town and informed them about the incident. And so there are no details about the condition of the girl.
I hope she's fine, because she's going to have to live with this for
the rest of her life.
The rest of her life. It's terrible. Anyway, the Republic newspaper, confusion in Parliament over Seydou Nketiah's appointment onto Parliamentary Service Board. That's part of the conversation we'll be having later today. And cost of doing business in Ghana reduced, according to, it's been attributed to President Akufo-Addo, and the story is on page 7. Also, 4 university vice-chancellors to pay debt of bolted lecturers trained with government funds. And that story is attributed to Auditor General. Then Chachu, thrown out again in South case, page 3. And the banner headline, COVID-19 protocols, rich paps snub president. So people are still having fun. In fact, this picture, I don't know where this picture was taken from, but it looks like people are having fun. You know, they're like, yeah, whatever. Well, this is from Labone, as police chases local sports. I like this angle. So it's like the big boys, where the big boys hang out.
High end.
Yeah, they're still in operation. But the small choba, tots.
Where the low earning people go.
Yes, those people, they are being harassed by police. Okay, so Ghana police, here's a story for you. They want you to go after the big boys too, if you're going after the small ones. Speaker gives NDC female MP's job to Seydou Nketiah. Really? How they reported it. That's a Republic for you. Okay, that's it for Republic. Joseph.
The last one for me will be the custodian, the front page. 4 NPP MPs file motion to probe electoral violence and demolish buildings on Sunyani Airport lands, Transport Minister tells the Ghana Airport Company Limited. And Chachu suffers 7-0 defeat again. And that is on page 3. Then there's this information. Petroleum price indicators as of 29th March 2021, and so 5.79. Yeah, if you want the details on the front page of the custodian. The back page has a story about Mustafa Yusuf to work closely with the Ghana Olympic Committee to develop sports in Ghana. It's also on the back page of the custodian. There were a number of stories that came up late night that are not in the paper.
Okay.
So the appropriation bill was passed by Parliament. That is what introduces the new taxes, the pollution levy, the energy sector recovery levy, among others. So that was approved by Parliament. And so the Finance Minister has the mandate to go ahead and spend...
And charge us.
Charge us and spend those revenues as well. Then there is a bit about a 9-member committee that has also been constituted to probe the banking license issue. You remember a motion was passed by some minority members relating to Unibank and UT Bank. A petition was actually filed by their founders, Mr. Amabing and Dr. Kwabena Dufo. So a 9-member committee has been set up to look into that. It has the Jose Wusu leading that particular committee. So the membership just say Usu, there is also Alexander Fenyomakin, Joe Garte, Patrick Boama, Samuel Atachia, James Aveji, and Kasiala Tuforsen, as well as Isaac Adongo and Elizabeth Ofosu Ejari. Another issue that
I'm curious about how that group is going to work on this very controversial matter.
Okay, so you want us to count the NC. Okay, so NDC 1, 2, 3, 4. So NDC 4, MPP 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the chairman is also MPP, so MPP with a slight advantage.
Okay, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
I didn't say, we're looking at it on partisan basis.
But I give the additional information.
I know, but we'll be kidding ourselves to pretend as if this doesn't exist. So let's go on.
Yeah, so some other issues that also came up, the finance minister was sworn into office last night by President Akufo-Addo, and he says he wants him to restore the economy, and also that the ordinary Ghanaians want to feel the impact of a good economy that he will end up building.
By all means.
In their pocket. And the finance minister accepted the charge and assured that he's going to do just that and work with integrity to protect the public purse. And so we're expecting to feel the economy in our pockets in the coming months.
Yeah, I want the public purse itself in my house. The day I'll get that public purse, I'll spread you, all of you who are watching, I will spread you like big time. Okay, Joseph, is there any story that jumps at you?
There was one about domestic violence.
Right.
That's the AG is asking the IGP one week to report on spousal murders. It's on page 3.
Okay.
We have been told that the new Attorney General, Godfrey Abadami, has given the IGP 1 week to present a confidential report on the increasing spate of spousal murders in the country.
Okay, so before you go into the details, I'm just wondering, so the IGP paid a courtesy call on the Attorney General. Is that what happened?
Yes, that's what happened.
And I'm just wondering, can the Attorney General give the IGP ultimatum?
The police service, in terms of crimes and prosecution, they work under the AG. In fact, they can't prosecute without the AG.
Without the AG.
If it has to do with even higher crimes, they can't actually prosecute at all. So they do the investigations, they hand over the dockets to the AG's office, then an attorney goes to prosecute the matter. And so these are all crimes that eventually, and if you look at some of them,
it's like
murder and all those things,
right. So it's like speed it up for us so we can work on it.
To do. Okay. But the major concern from him was about the fact that it appears there is some form of a trend.
Yeah.
Because just in the last month, about 5 people, mostly women, have been killed by their partners, packing out.
Allegedly by their partners.
Allegedly by their partners. Right. Good points. Very good points there. And so that is what he's asking, that he wants a report on that. And the interesting, IGP made a certain comment. He says, their initial view is that, it appears people are beating their partners because there are said in some parts of the country, there is the view that if your husband doesn't beat you, it means that the husband doesn't.
That's a moot
point. He
says
it's something that as a society we need to work to correct.
Exactly.
Because it's completely wrong for people to hold that view. You don't beat someone to show that.
They call it what? People's love language. Some people, they like to fight and then they make up, etc. But when people are being killed, that's a no-no. That's not even a part of the conversation you want to bring in. That sounds like an excuse.
You are better with description. The Last Supper. I'll leave this for you.
Am I better with description? Okay. So hopefully we can show you this. Can we? I'm not too sure, but let's see. This is titled The Last Supper, and in bracket you see 4 more, right? And it says me, Ayoko, me, Ayoko, Dabi, never. Okay, that's something that looks like the Foreign Affairs Minister, and then that's something that looks like the Agric Minister. Then that's something that looks like, who is this? Yabwamia Samoa.
No, that looks like Alan Chemanti.
Oh, this one?
Then this one looks like Dr. Baumia.
Oh, right. Oh, right. All right. And then this one looks like President Akufo-Addo.
Yeah,
this one looks like Ken Oforiatta. Yeah, this one looks like Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah.
Yeah.
Okay. So now that I've introduced the characters, for lack of a better expression, to you, the one that looks like Ayoko says me, Ayoko, Dabi. Then the one that looks like a Greek minister says never. Then Alan K says impossible. Verily, verily, one of you will betray me. Okay, so that's the basis for the conversation. Someone says...
Who is suggesting the betrayal?
The one who is suggesting the betrayal is the one that looks like President Akufo-Addo.
I see the one in the middle.
The one in the middle. Oh. That says, verily, verily, one of you will betray me. Then Alan K Alake says, the one that looks like Alake says, impossible. A great minister says, never. Ayoko says, me. Ayoko dabi. Baumia says, kai, walai, Sam. And Ken says, pavre, so it's not true. And then Kojo Fonkuma, or the thing that looks like Kojo Fonkuma says, hey, interesting. Okay, so when I lifted up the paper and I was trying to show you, my director was making very interesting comments that I just want to acknowledge. I won't share. Anyway, so it looks like the conversation of, who will betray me, but who is going to betray who?
It says
why is that even a conversation?
The Last Supper.
Yeah, but the Last Supper, when the Last Supper is done, it's done. New old team out, new team in, and anyway.
Interesting. And you see, if I'm going through the tags again, they are all essentially saying that's impossible. Like
impossible. So who?
So that's the question.
We don't know the Judas. We'll need some prophecies for that one. Okay, so the story. So that was the story that jumps at you, Joseph, about the spousal abuse that's ongoing. Yeah, I mean, I believe in relationships, and I believe in preserving, the sanctity of marriages and family, etc. But do not be killed. Do not get killed in a relationship. I think it's not worth it. And I don't know if we will all just have a little bit of patience and just remember that you've promised this person, you've said all kinds of things to them. Why do you just kill them? Anyway, I don't know if I have the words. But I find this story very interesting. Government waives import duties. I haven't gone through the very minute details, but if it has to do with giving local companies the advantage, I think it's a great idea, and companies ought to go after this story and understand what this means and find out how you can benefit. Oftentimes, companies won't go, they don't know everything.
They don't take advantage of
exactly. So something might be there, but you don't know it's there, and you can't take advantage of it if you don't go looking at it. So if you're a business operative, I want you to take the Daily Graphic, Government Waives Import Duty, check out what it is and the opportunities that exist. Well, that's it. Joseph, thank you.
Welcome.
All right, that's it for the news review.
And we move on to the Ghana Football Association, who have announced a list of clubs who will be allowed to admit fans into their respective stadia following the successful completion of the stewards training. According to the Executive Council of the Ghana Football Association, after getting the required approval to admit fans to their stadia, clubs must stick to the 25% capacity directive by government. Here are the clubs who will be allowed to admit fans for their home matches. And we're looking at Accra Hearts of Oak, Accra Great Olympics, Legon Cities FC, also Brekum Chelsea, Elmina Sharks, Ashanti Gold Sporting Club, and the West African Football Academy. The rest are Liberty Professionals, Dreams FC, 11 Wonders, Mediama Sporting Club, Karela United, and King Faisal FC. Now let's talk about player exodus, because another Ghana Premier League star has moved to the Algerian Top Flight League after Joseph Esso signed a 3-year contract with MC Alger from Dreams FC. There is more in the following Joy Sports report.
Now the fourth official is from Cote d'Ivoire, Kouassi Biro. So
and that in moved to ES Setif and USM Alger respectively. Esso is the third attacker this season to leave the local league after Warfest Daniel Lomote and Kotoko's Kwame Opoku completed move to ES Setif and USM Alger respectively. The former House of Oak and Ibisuan Dwarfs striker has scored 10 goals this season since completing a move to Dreams FC. His transfer was confirmed by Algiers on Tuesday morning. Dreams poached the striker before the start of the season as a free agent after he parted ways with Accra House of Oak. The Phobians could not extend Esso's contract due to his reported huge demands. His 10 goals have helped Dreams FC to occupy 6th position after the first round of the Premier League season. Eso was part of Ghana's squad that finished as runners-up in the 2019 Waffle Cup of Nations in Senegal. He was named in the Black Star squad that faced South Africa and Sao Tome and Principe in the 2021 African Cup of Nations qualifiers this month. His departure to join MC Alger is unknown, as sources close to the player and Dreams FC tells Joy Sports the move is a preliminary one. They say he could be available for the first 5 matches of the second round, which commences this weekend.
Now, former Kumasi Asante Kotoko defender Frimpong Manso has bemoaned the lack of respect accorded ex-players of the club by successive management teams. Now, in recent times, some ex-players of the club have openly expressed misgivings at the treatment meted out to them. The administrators, former Kotoko players complain of lack of cooperation, respect and partnership in trying to resolve the many problems affecting the development and progress of the club. Speaking exclusively to Love FM's Delali Atiase, Frimpong Manso, who lives just 3 minutes drive away from the Asante Kotoko Adako Jachi training ground, says he hardly passes by to watch his former team train because he feels unwanted.
One, you need to be recognized that you were once with the club, you've helped the club, but if you are not given that recognition, you cannot force yourself onto the team. You see, we have a lot of players who are now, they all feel very bad. They think that the club has not been fair with them. Some, even if they want to go to the stadium, it's a problem for them. They will be heckled at the gates here and there. Nothing. You are not consulted in anything. So for me, I think they need to address that problem. It's a serious problem now. Now we have an association, well organized, those outside and then those of us here. And we've been talking a lot about these things, and we are trying to see if we can meet with the management and then try and then iron out some of these problems, and maybe most of us maybe we can have a second opinion, but for now, majority of them are feeling very, very, very bad.
Yeah. Now, you said you want to meet the management. How soon do you guys want to do this? And have you even made any approach at all? What has been the response from the management?
Yeah, we've had discussions, and George Kennedy is the president.
Okay.
And he's written some letters, and very soon, I'm sure, he will send the letters to the management, and then the response maybe we can take it up from there. But for now, I cannot say when or where. Yeah. But I'm sure we will do.
Frimpong Manso, what a defender he was in his day. Let's move on to some other stories. And Samuel Entry, he produced an impeccable performance to beat defending champion Benjamin Fumi in the second edition of the Accra Open. Earlier on, Ekuya Akoma Hansen won the Ladies Challenger Series title after overcoming Annette Cruikshank 6-2, 6-2 in 1 hour and 10 minutes. They both took home $2,000 each, while the runner-up Benjamin Fumi and Annette Cruikshank also had $1,000 each. A philanthropist, Mr. Mwako Boafo, who sponsored the competition, was really impressed with the performances exhibited by the players, and he spoke to the media afterwards.
Well, we organized it last year. I mean, I have to say that the turnout for this year is much bigger than last year. But again, I mean, we knew already the potential, and we saw already the energy that they played last year. That's why we organized this year. I must say that right from day one, we've seen good tennis. We've seen people have actually improved their game, and they play to their ability. And I must say that this has been great, and we will try to continue to support Ghana tennis and to bring it where it's supposed to be. Again, I must also say that COVID in Ghana is serious, yes, but people actually have the time and spaces to go train. So I wouldn't use COVID as an excuse to not train. So yes, this is what I expect. We all expect people or the tennis athletes to play such games because this is all we want to support. it would be nice for every discipline to have a good life, right? So if I'm looking at sports, I think, you know, the way people live and can survive from it, I think it should be the same thing here. They stand on court, they play for hours, they train for hours, and so I think it's fair that they have enough money when they play or participate, so they can actually, you know where exactly they are working for. You know, it's a good thing to know that you're working towards something good. It's time that the government support all discipline. I mean, I don't have anything against football. It's a good game, but I think there are other games that need support as well. And we have to create equal opportunity for every athlete. Yeah, thank you.
Introduce yourself.
And so that's my, if you like, short sojourn in Rwanda. It's exciting, isn't it? I mean, I think for me, it's the clean environment, the greenery, you know, good roads that leads you to these tourist sites, the conscious effort that the country makes, you know, to build this infrastructure and invest, etc. That stands out for me. Well, let's do AM talk. We'll get to talk some politics and also talk about our economy, etc. Andrew Ejapa-Mensah is Member of Parliament for Sekune. Secondly, he's here in the studio with me, and we'll also have Mr. Dafiamekbo joining us shortly. Mr. Mensah, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
It's good to have you.
Yes.
How are the people of Sekune this morning?
I suppose not too bad. I haven't had any incident report. You know, of course, I was there over the weekend, and the people that I met, the events that I attended, funerals and some Thanksgiving and retirement services went smoothly.
Okay.
Let me take the opportunity to say good morning to your cherished viewers, particularly those who are watching us from my constituency in Sekondi. The Easter is very big in Sekondi, you know.
Is that so? Well, they should look out for the police.
Of course, and of course the COVID. So I guess that last year and this year would be the two Easters back to back that we've never really, you know, done our use answer. So I will urge that, yes, people have seen some advertisements on social media, you know, suggesting that people are ready to party and to mark the Easter occasion as we used to do in the past. But I would urge some caution because the restrictions are still in place and COVID is still with us. So my people, please, let's be mindful of the times that we are in. Hopefully next year, if all goes as planned, that no pandemic hits us and the vaccine rollout is successful.
We'll have fun.
Sure that would
absolutely. Okay. So we want to take a look at three key issues that have been happening in Parliament. Parliament has been very busy the past few days. So, you know, yesterday, was it? Yeah, yesterday, Ken Ofori-Atta, the finance minister, has been sworn in. And of course, he's starting his work. He's saying that he's going to protect the public purse, etc. It didn't come as a surprise to you that he was, you know, approved the way he was, did it?
Not at all, because I followed the vetting, and particularly because I speak for party and government. Many of the issues that had come up in the past, I was very much abreast with them. I had spoken extensively on PDS, I had spoken extensively on AJAPA. And as far as I'm concerned, all the issues that were being thrown about essentially was to feed a certain political appetite. And so when you listen to the very competent Ghanaian, Honorable Ken Ofori-Atta, during the vetting process, I wasn't surprised, and many Ghanaians were satisfied with the responses that he provided relative to the issues that had come up, particularly on these two topical matters, of course.
When you say the rhetoric, or when you say the narratives that went on was to feed political appetite, it wasn't just the politicians who were talking about some of the issues you've mentioned. PDS affects almost everyone, not almost everyone, it affects everyone. AJAPA, it wasn't just them, it was the civil society organizations that spoke up against this.
Well, some informed, some or many uninformed. because PDS process, for instance, didn't start today. The decisions that were taken that led to the change in the shareholding was good for Ghana. The reduction of the tenure from 35 or so to 30 years or 30 to 25 years was good for Ghana. Indeed, all the transaction advisors' work that they did suggested that PDS was in a position to execute their obligations under the contract. It turns out that some instrument that they had used to back their transaction had been repudiated, if you like, by the issuer.
And that's
in this case, our coup. Now, how does that? No, hold on.
It's a huge indictment on
whoever
led
how
that you did not do due diligence.
But due diligence was done. See.
No, I mean you could have finished all these processes before handing over the
not at all. But of course, it was done. The instrument, hold on, the instrument was actually issued by the company, not so, duly executed, except to say that they came out subsequently to say that the officer who signed did not have a mandate. How was an independent third-party observer to know the internal workings of ACCRA? But government felt that, look, and particularly because my understanding is that because the chairman of ECG, who himself is an insurance person, was not familiar with the name ACCRA in the industry, he then insisted that post the transaction, can we do some further due diligence? That's thoughtfulness. But listen to how the issue was thrown out there as if to say that some people have sat somewhere and deliberately cooked some transaction for their personal benefit. Was it factual?
That's not it.
Was it? I'm asking you, you know the facts.
Was there any information put out there, you know, to suggest otherwise?
Absolutely. And you heard him at the vetting. The steps that government took when they became aware of the ACCRA resiling on their obligation under the guarantee. Government suspended the transaction. To the charging of the United States government, they suggested that we should give the PDS consortium an opportunity to procure a new guarantee. But you heard the narrative. A transaction that was started as far back as 2014 under the previous government, all of a sudden, President Akufo-Addo had conceived in the future that I'll become president in 2017. And so let me put some people together to participate in a process that ultimately will become mine. The narrative that was put out there, was it true? So if I suggest that it was purely to feed a certain political appetite, I'm entirely within the space that this issue was played.
I see.
Of course, look, it is not for nothing that when you sign agreements, you put in clauses that enables you when there is a breach to terminate. Nobody contemplates that the other party or the other contracting party would be unable to meet a certain obligation. But if they do, you have provisions in an agreement that then enables you to terminate. Okay. Government does that, and all of a sudden he is corrupt. And I ask that you, having read and followed the entirety of the issues, were those suggestions factual?
Let's listen to the first Deputy Speaker, Jose Wusu, who has been speaking about how the Finance Minister was approved.
The committee has recommended that the Finance Minister be approved by the House. And the committee came to that conclusion by consensus. But when we say it's by consensus, it means that all members of the committee agree that the House should approve his nomination.
Including the NDC leadership?
All members of the committee.
No, just for the purpose of clarity, because we know that this matter came to the floor and there was a debate about the majority decision and all of that. That is why I want to stress on the fact that the members of the NDC agreed to the approval of the finance minister.
All members of the committee. You see, at committee level, we try very carefully to avoid sides. Individual members are expected to behave as individuals, right? So no individual voted against the recommendation of the committee.
So when you finally present the report to the House, what should we expect?
That the House will approve the nomination by a voice vote.
By a voice vote?
Yes.
Is there a possibility that any member of the House could challenge the voice vote?
Well, if you challenge the voice vote, what it means, the Speaker may then ask that it be, we take a decision by division. But otherwise, any member may decide to vote no, or in favor say aye, against say no, and somebody may say no. But the Speaker's declaration that the ayes have it or the noes have it may be challenged. These are all procedures in our standing orders.
And that's Joe Wise there speaking to my colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson. Let me introduce Member of Parliament for South Dine who has joined us this morning, Roxton Nelson Dafiamekpo. So Dafiamekpo, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you, and good morning to your viewers. Good morning, my brother.
Did you sleep okay? Your eyes look missing.
I got home around.
Like I can't see your eyes.
Yes, they look puffy. Because
I had a long day yesterday.
Yes,
right.
we adjourn after 1 a.m. And you know when you do that, you need to tidy up a few things before you get home. So I got home after almost 3 a.m.
Wow.
Wow. A couple of hours.
And you made it here. Your constituents are watching. I'm sure they will appreciate.
They do.
All right. So we're just talking about Ken Ofori-Atta's approval. You heard the first Deputy Speaker talking to my colleague Kwesi Parker-Wilson there. And Mr. Mensah here says it was no surprise because if you had followed the vetting, the issues and the responses that came on the back of the issues that were raised, you wouldn't have expected anything less.
Well, I don't expect him to say anything other than what it said. But the minority were serious issues. But you see, at the end of the day, a decision was made by the committee, including the committee of members of the NDC. And so it became a bit difficult for the other members of the caucus as a whole to do otherwise.
Okay.
And so eventually we are about to agree that those of us who were opposed to his appointment, we could go by a voice vote. We shouted as loudly as we could.
Voice votes are, usually very difficult to. It's mainly at the discretion of the Speaker.
Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. And but that was what happened. Those of us who disagreed said so by viva voce. We were hoping that we could have gone through balloting because the rules are very clear. Either a voice vote through consensus, that the ayes have it loudly and there will be no opposition, as to no or the nays. So even though the nays, those of us who said nay, we lost, nobody called for a division. And so
why would you, I mean, you may have your issues, but as Mr. Mensah here says, here is a competent Ghanaian who has proven, who has shown you, track record of what he is capable of when it comes to, the finance sector. You may have your issues with him, but is he not competent enough to do the work?
He hasn't demonstrated that in public service.
At the vetting or in public service?
In public service. For the past 4 years, he's not demonstrated his competence.
But they've given us figures to show how well he has done.
What sort of figures? The man came to meet CD as 4.2. Today's CD is 5.9 to the dollar. Is that competence?
What's the rate of depreciation?
The rate?
Please. So you agree that there's a depreciation. But his promise was that he was coming to stabilize the city. There will be no depreciation at all. If somebody says, I'm coming to stabilize, that is no depreciation. Did he do that?
Will you agree?
No, hold on. So let me give you the pointers that the NDC, the generality of the NDC are basing our argument on.
And that's where I wanted to come to. You talk about the generality of the NDC, yes, but it looks as if it is not after all. It looks like some of your people still believe that Ken should be the man for the job. But go ahead with the point you were making.
Such as.
Go ahead with the point you were making.
This is a man that came to meet a public debt at 122 billion. Today it is 290 billion. He's brought an expenditure to Parliament that is, which we just approved, that is bigger than the national debt that he came to me. It's 129 billion.
We're in a pandemic.
So?
You're talking about...
Instead of granting reliefs in a pandemic era, the man is taxing us. So, where is the demonstration of competence in all this? That is why the NDC felt that he ought not to have been repeated. In any case, the man doesn't look strong. In any case.
You don't have his medical records.
We don't, but it doesn't look strong.
Well, that's a perception.
It's not a perception.
When you see someone...
It's a matter of record that he just returned from the US.
Matter of record? Do you have evidence of that?
The man wrote to Parliament that he was going on
Yes, he was going to seek medical care.
Yes.
He has the medical care and he's back to take his job.
He's back. Is he strong enough?
Well, he sat through your vetting at least.
For a couple of hours, intermittently. So for me, his health was even an issue for some of us. That yes, he must have served as finance minister for the past 4 years. But going forward, he doesn't look in the best frame of physique to be able to bear the brunt of such onerous tax such as the office of the finance minister.
Okay, well, he's been sworn in, so maybe we should look at the way forward. But then you talked about the NDC and the fact that some of you say the generality of the NDC have issues with Mr. Ofori-Atta's approval. But, well, you approved him. You approved him in Parliament.
Parliament does. And I'm bound. But as an individual, I was not in support.
I'm reading a story here that says it's actually attributing the story to ACCRA, and it says that the headline says NDC's interests will be better served with Ken Ofori-Atta as finance minister. Have you heard that?
I have.
Do you agree?
And I think, are you sure that's the entire title of the story?
That's the title of the story.
He says his mess. He says it will be better for him to stay in office to sort out his mess, other than looking for or hoping that somebody else will come and succeed him and be giving us excuses. It's a storyline that I don't know whether he said so.
It says as Mr. Sendu Ketia, who had earlier issued a statement calling for calm among the rank and file of the NDC following Ofori-Atta's approval, told Accra-based 90.
And this story, this reaction...
He says that approving the finance minister is critical to NDC's return to power. He explained that Ofori-Atta is bound to create a mess at the ministry, brightening the NDC's chances of recapturing power in 2024.
Yes, it made some sense there.
So as an opposition political party,
yes,
the aim is to have a finance minister create a mess just because you can come to power.
Some of us are even of the opinion that the man has created a mess already. That's where some of us stand. So he ought not to have been repeated in office.
Okay.
We ought to have sent somebody a fresh mind.
Okay, Mr. Mesa, he says that he's going to work. Now he's been approved. Let's look at the way forward, if we may. He's indicated at his swearing-in ceremony that he's going to work to protect the public purse. But the NDC's argument is that he has created a mess. In fact, he has not been able to protect the public purse. He has increased our debt stock. And he's taxing Ghanaians in a time when there is a pandemic where Ghanaians actually deserve some relief.
But of course, I mean, when we were in the crisis, when the pandemic was here, he provided significant relief.
The pandemic is still here.
Look, the extent of what it is that we know today, as opposed to what we knew about COVID-19 a year ago, is completely different. This was a novel virus that nobody knew its character, that had disrupted the entire global economy. The entire global value chain had been disrupted by COVID-19.
But I'm here to hear
jobs,
any country impose new taxes in these times.
Botswana has.
Educate me.
Yesterday,
Botswana?
During the debate, yes.
How many the people in Botswana?
They have increased their value-added tax by 2%.
Ghana is way the number of people Ghanaians we have are so many, way beyond the people in Botswana.
Let's face facts. The situation that we find ourselves in today requires government to expend resources to protect everybody.
Yeah.
2 options are available: debt or raise revenue. Our debt stock is rising. Fact.
And they're blaming you for it because you said you complained about it. You came into power and you're raising.
Hold on. You read the budget. You know the 3 items that have significantly contributed to the level of debt. The banking sector cleanup is critical. It's in there. The energy sector payments that are being made as a result of contracts that they signed. And of course, the COVID-19 cost that government has had to incur. These are matters of fact. Prior to that, what was the state of our economy? Of course, we had accumulated some debt, no doubt. But look at the growth indicators. Look at the economic fundamentals. Compare that to 2016 when we came, 2016 December or January 2017 when we assumed office. Ghana had become the beacon of hope once again in Africa, in all fronts, thanks to the work that Ken Ofori-Atta and his team had put in. These are matters of fact.
You haven't addressed the issue about comparing apples and oranges, because when I said that I'm yet to hear any country.
But I've given you
impose. You told me about Botswana, but you cannot.
Any country, but Botswana is any country. Doesn't satisfy the test that you yourself put across? Why not?
In terms of how it
you asked me to give you one country,
yes,
and I've given you one.
And I'm saying that.
Yet
you
are changing the goal.
No, you have. It's not about scoring. It's not about scoring points.
No, I'm not scoring points.
Yeah, it's about looking at the matters.
I'm suggesting to you that.
Yes.
Our own circumstances ought to determine what it is that government decides to do going forward.
Apart from these taxes, we have made the money anyhow. Somehow.
How?
No,
you tell me.
That's why you said. That's why the MPP. That's why the MPP says you're better managers of the economy.
And that's a matter of fact.
Manage it without taxing us.
But you see, of course, government is improving the tax basket by the introduction of the digitalization into our system that then enables us bringing more people into the tax net. It's a process. Okay. But I'm saying that the pandemic has exposed that to certain realities that we need to deal with today. What are the options that are available to government? 2 only. Taxes or debt. Which is the best option that is available to us? And I'm saying that if you look at what it is that the Finance Ministry outlined in the budget, these are measures that are necessary. Of course, having regard to the fact that some people are vulnerable, significant relief have been provided in there to support those people. But some people, please, you know the tax reliefs that have been given to transporters, truck drivers, and businesses that have been impacted by COVID, the hotel industry and all that, have been provided significant support.
Such as?
Go ahead with your point, Mr. Mesa.
You see, you haven't given any tax relief to anybody.
You are not reverting to me.
I will.
But let me make my point.
You've been making your point for almost 10 minutes.
But you're not the host.
Okay, Mr. Mesa, go ahead.
So I'm saying that that's where we are. And government has been candid with the people of Ghana that, look, these are our finances. That's why if you look at how we're reporting our finances, indeed, even as of today, we treat certain items as below the line, because if you do not do that, then you are not able to measure the performance of government backing out these outlier events that has impacted the economy in a certain direction.
It's been a whole year.
But the path to recovery, like you said, going forward, is clear.
Okay.
And I look at the medium term and I'm satisfied.
Okay.
That
if you look at the NDC...
Ejapa, you've had 10 minutes.
Mr. Dafemepo, it's all right. Mr. Dafemepo, what I want to find out is he says that the path to recovery, and that's for me and for many Ghanaians. Yes, I know.
He's responded. Let me rebut.
Can I ask my question?
He says certain things that if I don't rebut, they'll go into the record.
Fair enough.
First of all, it is not accurate that this government gave reliefs to truck drivers. What did they do? What they did was to ask them to reduce passenger intake. The same government went on to increase, they went on to increase fuel. If you ask me to act in a way that will dwindle my
let me just put it.
No.
Okay, hold on, gentlemen. So the point is,
that's government.
Mr.
Who does?
You put in place the mechanism for automatic price adjustment. Not
who does?
Okay,
who
so gentlemen,
Mr. Mahama
you are increasing prices.
Hang on. What they're doing
is it not government?
When you speak over one another, you are not doing any.
Exactly.
You're doing a great disservice to our viewers.
Was on the floor.
You did.
Quiet.
So I think I just wanted to put in a point. I just wanted to make a point.
50, you are not
allow me.
fair.
No. Allow me. I want to make a point. The point is that when you make a point and there is a bit of clarity, as a host, my job is to create that clarity, then we can move on from there. So allow me. The point I wanted to make was that the reduction of the number of people that vehicles could take, trotters could take, was part of the COVID safety protocols. But then government was supposed to support them with some finances. I don't know if that is what Mr. Mesa was referring to, but I wanted to put in that clarity.
That they never gave them any relief.
Right, and then the second point was also that if the point you made about increasing fuel is that the adjustments are not necessarily made by government. Of course, government interventions.
Is it not a state institution?
Right. I just wanted to put in that clarity, but go ahead.
So when GRA says they are going to tax us, is that not government? Is that not a state institution? Is that not a state policy? So Gifty, this argument won't go anywhere. Okay. The end result is that the people that are supposed to fill these reliefs never filled them. Government rather made matters worse economically for them. And two, we were told in this country that over 470,000 families were given food. When we asked for the details in the budget, it never came. Families, not human beings, families. 470,000 families. Did your family benefit? So government comes and says things. When you look at the devil is in the details. When you look at the details, they are unable to tell you. This government is telling us that they spent in excess of 21 billion on COVID. When you look into the budget, the actual expenditure is not up to 2 billion. It's not up to 2 billion, and we are asking them to give us the further details. They are unable to provide us. And they are saying they are basing everything on COVID. Gifty, if you borrow in excess of 160 billion in 4 years, well, I can say that yes. Then demonstrate what you did with the excessive and obnoxious borrowing.
Okay.
They should tell me one key infrastructure project that they have completed with an amount in excess of 160 billion.
You want a list?
So
you see, when you go and cut the sword and you list it, that is not it.
Okay, Mr. Dafemepo, I want us to focus.
Gifty, he said other things.
Yes, but I'm sure if I ask this question, it will probably help you too also. So what I want to ask is, we're looking at the path to recovery, as he puts it. Now, I think for many Ghanaians, what we want to know is...
He spoke about that, so I want to rebut.
I know, but you've rebutted.
No.
So the question I want to ask is, what are your expectations? Because all you're telling us now is that certain things have not been done the right way. Yes. How do we correct those wrongs as we go along? What are your expectations? Now, even though you don't believe in his affirmation, he has been put there as a member of the opposition. Yes. What are the expectations for you?
Gifty, for instance, if you look at the COVID tax, government says that by and large, they expect to earn about 250 to 70 million a year. The COVID expenditure is in excess of 21 billion. So clearly it is not that sort of taxation that will let us recover. So you should stop talking about recovery. Go at that kind of rate. Yesterday, I don't go did the calculation. It will take us over 100 years to get there. So it cannot be that taxation that will let us recover from the so-called COVID expenditure. Now, the other dangerous thing is that in the budget we are spending in excess of 36 billion on interest payment. When you do the calculation, the borrowing that government alone did, which is attracting interest within the past 4 years, is in excess of 20 billion. The interest payment, if you look at the component that is on loans that this government has contracted the loan, is over 20 billion. So if you come to office and you borrow money in excess of 60 billion, and we are paying over 20 billion on interest, that's worrying.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
Okay.
And two, if you check the Auditor General's report, the fresh one they've released, the level of cash irregularities, not just financial irregularities, which is cash irregularities is part of financial irregularities anyway, but the level, the incidence of cash irregularities is shocking. I don't know why state institutions are suddenly, they have come into cash. Every transaction is almost in cash, and there are a lot of irregularities being recorded by the Office of the Auditor General.
You're attributing that to the finance minister's
Yes,
work?
why are state officials and institutions, we are experiencing a high incidence of cash irregularities? Why? There are supposed to be checks. Apart from that, payroll irregularities, it's also gone up. And if you look at the total for state institutions and boards alone, it's in excess of 20 billion. We are not talking of assemblies. We are not talking of other organizations. State boards and ministries and departments, 20 billion in 4 years. Look, if we had sealed these rules, I don't think that we would have gone to borrow money to deal with the COVID expenditure.
So again, what do you expect Mr. Ofori-Atta to do? What will please you if he does? I mean, in office now.
That one, they will be more efficient. They will be more efficient. No, they are not efficient now. It's not demonstrated efficiency in the management of the economy. Government expenditure will be reduced. Look, Office of Government Machinery, within the past 4 years, has they budgeted in excess of 8 billion for their activities. Office of Government Machinery. And what is the Office of Government Machinery? What infrastructure projects are they undertaking? When you talk about it, they will mention Maslock. When you talk about it, they will mention Scholarship Secretariat.
Zongo
it's so large.
Zongo development has been moved there.
Yes.
Special development initiatives have been moved there.
The infrastructure.
1 billion per constituency is all going there.
That is guzzling in excess of 10 billion.
It's all in the budget.
And I'm saying, show me the infrastructure. In Japan,
okay.
3 years ago, in 2018, it was in excess of 4 billion for the expenditure in 1 year.
So I wanted you to...
So that's why I'm saying that the level of expenditure of government, government-affiliated institutions has to be reduced.
Okay.
Then there should be more efficiency demonstrated in supervision.
I see.
And the GRA. GRA should not be interested in collecting the taxes. Last year, during COVID, they introduced this tax. They introduced 2 taxes. The luxury vehicle tax, and then they increased...
Which was suspended.
Yes.
But it wasn't in 2020.
It was in 2020.
No, luxury vehicles tax was in 2018.
It was
okay, 2018.
Yes.
Implemented in 2019. But you suspended it.
Of course.
You suspended it.
No, it was repealed.
No,
it was suspended.
Suspended.
It was suspended.
No, there was a lot of agitation and it was reviewed.
Yes, it was.
I'm a friend of the finance.
All right, we'll try and get. We'll try and get some.
Why haven't you suspended legislation?
We'll try and get some. We'll try and get.
Which legislation has been suspended? You've come to Parliament to ask Parliament.
I think what we need to do is to clarify this.
Yes. The law itself provides for circumstances under which.
Okay, Mr. What I know. What I know is I was suspended.
Yes.
The luxury vehicle tax was repealed.
Was repealed.
Absolutely.
Okay. We'll just check with the
now if you are saying.
Not for me. Let me bring him in, Mr. Dafiamekbo.
Now, my point is this. If you introduce 2 taxes, you know the communication tax, the rate was increased from 6 to 9. They are reverted to 6.
Yeah.
So why did the government do that?
Maybe they've achieved the aim they wanted. They had in mind at the beginning.
And why would you do that?
Why not?
What was the aim? It's all about revenue generation.
Yes.
So I see that the government itself is not consistent, because when they come to reduce the rate, they cite COVID. Now, COVID is still with us. You are slapping us even with sanitation levy.
Sanitation levy. Wouldn't you agree that it's an important part?
Levy.
I'm just coming from Rwanda. I'm just coming from Rwanda
sector recovery levy.
I'm just coming from Rwanda last week. The place is clean. And it's not an exaggeration when they say it's clean. Wouldn't you say that? Wouldn't you say Rwanda?
Yes.
I'm giving you an example. And I'm saying that, wouldn't you say that even though it might sound like a tax, that it's one of the things that we need to do as a country to keep ourselves clean, or to keep our country clean?
Government already generates, allocates funds, a portion of the District Assembly Common Fund that goes to the assemblies. A portion is set aside to deal with sanitation matters. And so yesterday I was raising a point in one of the provisions in the amendment they introduced, that they sought to suggest that government was looking for a dedicated support. But that's not what government is looking for. Government is rather looking for a dedicated funding source to deal with sanitation matters. Now, I know that the assemblies have their respective contract with Zoom Lion. What are the issues? Zoom Lion is working. Some of the assemblies are unable to pay. Now, if that is the situation, we need to have a look at the terms of the agreement and let Zoom Lion do what they can. But when you are saying that you have to levy the people in order to deal with sanitation matters,
you don't agree?
There's no basis for that.
Okay.
Because you see, 2 years ago, Works and Housing was allocated $200 million to deal with the outdoor drains on some of the major drains in Accra. What is the status? It all goes to dealing with the sanitation during flooding and all that.
Okay. Let me bring in Mr. Mensah. Mr. Mensah, I've been trying to get Mr. Dafiamekbo to list for us, at least from his perspective, what the expectations are on the other end. For me, I think that we should be able to move on from the politics that comes with approval and non-approval to how can my life as a Ghanaian improve, because this finance minister is working to improve my life. He says that we're incurring unnecessary costs. He thinks that, for example, allocating 8 billion to government machinery is just too much. Is looking at efficiency and how we'll cut the expenditure so that at the end of the day it can trickle down and our lives will be better, those of us on the ground.
I don't see how any suggestion that funds that have been allocated for specific programs that are clearly delineated in the budget with specific lines can be described as being too much. Because the Office of Government Machinery is not just the Office of the President. There are several agencies under there that have been allocated specific sums of money. If you put that together, then you arrive at 8 billion. Indeed, in most instances, we as members of parliament, when we are at committee, recommend increases in allocations that have been made to various government units. Yet we sit on TV.
Not to Office of Government Machinery.
Please.
So be
Mr. Dafiamekbo, let's make this point. Yes.
You came in.
I agree. Yeah. So go on.
You understand? So for me, and you see.
But that was just an example.
Yeah, that's fine.
He makes different points about irregularities, state agency, financial sector.
To the extent that the organs of state that ought to deal with the findings of the Auditor General. And this is not new. It's been with us for ages, where several infractions are identified by the Auditor General, but steps are not taken as a country to proceed to then hold the people who have caused those infractions to account. You go into the detail, and it's not even politicians. These are matters of fact. Public officers.
So how do we get the efficiency?
Yes, the efficiency, I agree that we ought to escalate the process of getting people to be held accountable for the kind of infractions that we see in the Auditor General's report year on year.
Is there a strategy you know of that will help us achieve this?
Indicated quite clearly in the budget the tightening of the regulation, the mechanisms for bringing efficiency within the system to enable us make some savings on those fronts. Lot more ought to be done, I agree. And I guess that as the year go by, we'll see what it is that government will roll out in that space to ensure that those efficiencies that we all want improved happens.
Okay, I just want us to move to the. We've spent quite a lot of time on this, but there are other issues that we want to talk about. The Parliamentary Service Board.
But he was suggesting that that they want to see more accountability.
Make it brief for me, please.
Yeah. Surprising. And I hear them say that the finance minister has expended so much and is not accounting for it. Let the auditors do their job and demonstrate that indeed those funds have not been expended.
Okay, I want us to move on. We need to move on. We need to move on to the next part of the
finance minister last year came to Parliament
to
tell Parliament that he was taking 10 billion from the Bank of Ghana.
Look, it
was established that he took 22 billion.
That's not true. Indeed. This morning I heard the Director of Research at the Bank of Ghana indicate that they have not breached any rule by extending any amount of money.
Did I say
okay?
No, but of course, the point is this.
The point is
look.
The point is much more.
Okay. Spoke about accountability.
The point is much more money has been expended.
Look, you told us
several other funds came in.
Okay. You told us he was taking 10 billion. We asked whether he was borrowing. They say he was not borrowing.
Okay.
And there was money that was being advanced to them. Now you go and take 22 billion.
That's not true.
How are you accounting for the 12 billion?
True.
That is correct.
It's not.
The man answered on that question.
That what?
That yes, he took 22 billion.
He did not make that admission.
Okay.
My brother.
Okay, gentlemen.
There are video recordings.
Of course.
Gentlemen, let's move on with the next point of our conversation. I think that for me, like for many Ghanaians, I think we want to see how the new finance minister will do his job, that the economic benefits will trickle down. Well, the finance minister, yes, will do his job, and that the economic benefits will trickle down and come to my pocket.
No doubt at all.
And that when I sleep, I won't wake up with sweat because my lights have gone off, because we can't pay whoever has to be paid for us to get lights. So I think we can leave the conversation there for now. I've run out of time.
Document that I will show you after the show.
I hear you. I'm looking forward to it. The Parliamentary Service Board is part of the conversations that we're supposed to have, and because I have less than 10 minutes, I'm told, we'll try and fix this in as well. Johnson Asiedu Nketia, your General Secretary, is on the Parliamentary Service Board. Sounds like good news, isn't it? You have your speaker.
To good news to whom?
To you as a party. I mean, you are being a part of the national of governance of the country.
I think it's a very mischievous point to make.
Why?
Asiedu Nketia has been a former member of Parliament 3 times.
Well, now he is.
Hold on. And if by some design, Speaker finds him suitable to serve on the Parliamentary Service Board, why not? In fact, during the life of the 7th Parliament, I know 2 notable MPP persons who serve on the Parliamentary Service Board. Should I say that ought to be good news for the MPP? But they were all former members of Parliament. And so, for me, he's neither here nor there. I think if they find him suitable to serve on the board, that's good news. Let's see what sort of policy interventions they can bring to bear on the work of Parliament, so that we will operate effectively, efficiently, and above all, to serve the greater interest of our people.
Does that give the NDC any feeling of control? Because you have the speaker as well.
I think we should. I think journalists
help me.
Yes, I'll help you.
Yes, go ahead.
And I want to urge you and your colleagues to also try and take out elements of mischief.
There's no mischief here. I'm asking questions on my mind that are on the minds of my viewers as well.
The NDC, we are not in government.
Yes, but you're supposed to help governance so that our lives will be better because we put you in parliament.
I prefer that you take it from that perspective. But
that's your preference.
No,
that's
the way you put it.
That's your preference.
Did you hear the speaker say that he's not an NDC speaker and that is the speaker of the?
I've heard him say, but we know that he's an NDC person.
How do you know?
The speaker is NDC.
You are.
No. That's a fact.
It is not wrong.
Isn't it a member of the NDC?
Yes, but you are fueling this.
No. The point I'm making is, does it give the NDC a feeling of being part of the governance of this country?
NDC has always been part of the governance.
You just said NDC is not a part of government.
I said yes, we are not in government, but we are part of governance,
which is good.
We have 137 members in parliament, and so for you to even suggest that we are not part of governance, I
haven't suggested so.
But you indicated.
I said, does it give you much more? Does it give you the feeling of being much more in control?
In control of what?
It's neither here nor there. That's fair enough.
How are we in control of parliamentary service? Was the MPP in control of parliamentary service when Speaker Michael?
It's fair enough that it's neither here nor there for you, Mr. Dafiamekpo. That's fair enough. Mr. Mensah, is it neither here nor there for you as well?
Well, I guess that it all depends on how the conduct of the affairs of the board, going forward, can be seen to reflect whether it's intended to a certain path. Then we can assess. But of course, for me, the optics really wasn't right for a sitting general secretary of a political party, a major political party, to be appointed to the Parliamentary Service Board. But of course, the discretion per Article 124 of the Constitution is for the Speaker to appoint in consultation with a committee that is set up by Parliament. That committee deliberated. There were some objections to the nomination, but ultimately the power rests with the Speaker to appoint. And that appointment has been made. I expect the General Secretary of the NDC to, as it were, abide by the rules that set up the Parliamentary Service Board, both the Constitution and the enabling legislation, so that we can assess his performance or otherwise going forward.
Okay, two key things that we can talk about.
May I rebut?
You want to rebut to this one too? Okay, Mr. Dafiamekpo.
He will rebut to anything.
That's not so. But you see, when you suggest the leader of the House is a member of the board by convention.
So is the minority leader.
Exactly.
Yes.
So we should stop. We should stop placing coloration on the members of the board.
Okay, so as far as you are concerned, this has nothing to do with politics.
Because you see,
we've
had MPP, senior MPP members, even chairman of their finance committee previously, serve on the board.
Okay, that's fair enough. I just wanted to be clear what your point is, that it has nothing to do with politics.
We want the board to work to bring transformation to the work of Parliament.
So whoever will be on that, all we want is for the board to be able to deliver.
And you heard him read the law that even the selection had to be done by a committee set up for that purpose.
Okay, so two key things that we can talk about before we go, if we have the time. We know that Parliament, there's a bit of a division over the probe that has been requested, of course, by minority MPs for to find out what actually happened in the 2020 elections regarding electoral violence. The majority is saying that if we want to look into this, then we should go as far back as 1993, so we can have a blueprint to prevent any of these happening. Fair point, isn't it?
Yes, why not? Fair point. But you see that eventually that motion was not carried.
Well, both motions were not taken.
Yes.
Because I guess it's the calendar of the activities of the...
it could have been carried, but it appears that the latest one was a counter motion to the existing
one.
So,
absolutely, it was.
Oh, yes, it was.
So,
but something happened just last year.
Hold on,
and they're saying that let's look at what happened last year. And they're saying let's go all the way back.
Of course. Because you need to look at the intent behind such motions that are presented to Parliament.
What do you think are the intents of the...
Of course, mischievous.
Now you are determining intent.
But of course, so why? I'm not entitled to go behind the mere document and to try and decipher what it is that is informing.
What do you know that we don't know?
Is it not obvious?
What do you know?
No, is it not obvious
that
when
it is purely...
But let me do my job so that I can get paid.
I was on the floor when he jumped in.
It is only Nana Addo Dankwa
I did.
Who has been bold.
Mr. Make your point again.
To set up a committee to investigate violence in an election.
You are making a point.
Previous government.
Mr. There have been interjections. I want to hear what you're saying properly.
The Ayawaso West Wogon incident.
And what has come out of that?
But of course, if there's a finding, of course, there was a white paper that was issued that accepted and rejected some of the recommendations. I
see.
Is it not in accordance with
So
I'm suggesting
when the actual effect was for you to have proceeded on the recommendations.
Can we hear one person? Can we hear one person at a time? Otherwise, our viewers, we're not doing them any good.
I don't subscribe to violence, regardless of whose era it occurs. But if we are being sincere to ourselves or with ourselves, and we're saying that, look, electoral violence occasioned our 2020 general elections. Same has happened in the past. What is it that we as a people ought to do going forward that would ensure that there's no electoral violence that is associated with any elections that is conducted in the country?
But
then it is important
but you can check the immediate occurrence and what happened. Then maybe later
unless, of course, you are suggesting to me that the reasons, if any, that informed the 2020 is the same that informed the previous incidents.
We wouldn't know until we
That is why we ought to put all together. Because those all past events constitute part of the history of violence in our country relative to elections. So if we want to inquire into it, it must be holistic. So that we deal with all the issues once and for all, and then put in place appropriate mechanisms going forward to avoid reoccurrence.
Mr. Adofemepo, you indicated that it was fair, at least, but you both have...
Not that it was fair. I see this all the time in Parliament. Anytime the NDC or members of the NDC comes up with a proposal, our brothers will find a way that they will delay the taking of the motion until they find a way to serve counter motion. And I can cite 3 previous instances. So you see that the effect of what they have done is that eventually the motions were not carried by the House. We are not the leaders of government business. And so the majority leader could have said, well, this motion is also on the order paper. So, Mr. Speaker, with due difference, I urge that we deal with it. So our side, the proponents of the motion from our side would have done their job, and they too, I think about 5 or 4 of them were sponsors of the motion. They could have also moved their motion, and the House would have found a way of putting together a committee, another committee, to deal with the matter.
So where are we now? Where we are, it's deadlock.
Yes.
I don't think so.
Why? Because you see, because he has told you that they have read mischief behind the sponsors of our motion. So obviously, because of their counter motion, everything is in abeyance.
No, it cannot be.
So what ought to have been done properly and in the utmost interest of the Republic of Ghana is in abeyance.
But you see,
and the lives of 8 persons who died less than 6 months ago.
Is the minority leaving it there?
Well, I'm sure we'll just come on recess. We'll look at a few things, and these are things we can always push back.
Okay, there's something that the newspapers didn't quite report on a lot today, that Parliament has set up a committee to look at the petition that was brought by the Unibank, former owners of the Unibank and UT and UT Bank as well. I'll take your thoughts on it, Mr. Mensah. I see that you're rolling your eyes.
I was going to dovetail my comments on the
I've actually
motions for the violence.
Yeah, I ran out of time. So apparently I have to go. But maybe you can take 30 seconds on the UT Bank and Unibank.
Clearly, Speaker, there were some form of objections, both on the floor and outside in the media. So Speaker took his time to deliver a ruling and consequently...
Which I disagree with him vehemently.
Yes, you have the right to do so.
Time, really.
Consequently, constitute a committee that was constituted with the consent of leadership. So I'm looking at the terms of reference that the committee will be giving for them to look at. But if you look at the prayer of both petitions, it's very clear. Okay. Speaker indeed indicated that there are other petitions that have come in, and they will also be referred to the committee. So let's see how it goes.
Okay, quick 30 seconds, Mr. Mesa.
I think that, well, I will not preempt the outcome of the work of the committee, but I disagree totally with the decision to admit the petition in the first place. Of course, the Speaker was right in admitting any petition that come before him that met the rules as set out in our standing order. Right. But I think that the content of the petition is relevant in determining whether to admit that petition or not. And clearly, the content of this petition, which is seeking to, as it were, render the outcome of a pending litigation brutal fulfilling, should not have been admitted by the Speaker.
Okay. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you.
It's not for me. I mean, the committee would.
Andrew Ejapa Mesa is a member of Parliament for Second D. I like to call it Sikuni. It feels nicer that way. And works in Nelson. Dafia Mekpo is member of Parliament for South Dai. Gentlemen, it's good to have you. Thank you so much for coming. You're still watching the AM show with me, Gifty, and up here. Well, it's been a month, gentlemen. I'm still having a show. Okay. Well, it's been a month since Ghana received our first tranche of vaccines, and we started inoculating Ghanaians. I had mine. A month after this, how far have we come? Manuel Planting is live from a community close by. We'll be talking about citizens and whether or not they are still scared about being vaccinated. That is a precursor to our very big conversation tomorrow, when we will assemble top-notch experts to look at our journey so far and lessons to learn.
Program. Well, it started off with priority groups such as health officials, security personnel, some media practitioners, government officials, and so on and so forth. Well, after about a month of vaccination, we are told that a little over 500,000 people have received the jabs with close to no serious side effects. What we are told is side events, a number of them, which have been investigated. And so, I mean, as we move on as we wrap up the first phase and try to move on into the second phase, the question is, are the people, the regular people in the country, are they ready to receive the jabs? What at all have they heard about the vaccines, and what are they learning? We'll try and speak to some of them. Let me start off with this lady here. Good morning. What's your name?
I am Dinah.
Great. Dinah, have you taken the coronavirus vaccine yet?
Not yet.
No, not yet. Why?
Okay, to me, I think the vaccine is meant for those, supposed to be given to those who are sick. So in as much as I'm not sick now, I don't think there is any need for me to go for the vaccine.
Okay, we are told that the vaccine is actually for people who are well, to protect you from contracting the virus so that you don't get sick. So you don't have to necessarily get sick before you go and take the vaccine. Are you aware of that?
That's what I have heard.
And so she's just telling me, Diana, she's just telling me that what she knows about the vaccine is that for those who are sick, they are the ones who are supposed to go for the vaccine. Well, that is in contrast to the information that we have gotten from the Ghana Health Service and indeed the authorities behind the immunization program. Let me go to my this boss here. Morning, Biaboko. Nice one. What the coronavirus is doing? Be panena here. What?
because me say or more head workers near there then na fe na be buy into me phone so e ba makwa ko
e ba ba ko na den na wate afa vaccine no
o say
e na wate afa ho
oh menti asemboni bi afa ho de matia ne say boy e ho ba free yare no ha ndi me de ba me wa ko so de be yare no me nyi bi
okay me pacho na wo so e
ada no man ka no my dear.
So he's telling me that the first man telling me about the fact that he's heard that the process is being run in a staggered approach, first with health workers, and then he's hoping that it will get to the general population where himself and his colleagues will go and then take the jab. So he said that he's not heard anything adverse about the vaccine just yet, and that's giving him confidence to want to go and take the jabs. We'll try and cross over to this side and speak to the motor riders because, well, for them, they come into contact with a lot of people. These Okada riders pick people on average more than 15 people a day, and that gives a cause for concern. Boss, good morning.
Fine morning.
Why I know you say they wear the mask? Why you know they wear the mask?
The reason why I only wear the mask, I don't know see some sickness in Ghana, so I always see some issue with our big men. They use our money play. What be the issue say for do for Ghana? They know they do, but what no need where they come from. You understand me?
So you think say the corona they no be real? So
but the corona it dey China, it be China it dey because since the sickness they start, it be China people are see they show for TV top. But Ghana here, I never see for TV top say we say we get hospital.
We get hospital.
Don't get any big hospital here. But always at the year say the sickness increase. Now they say they are about 18,000, 19,000. So those people, which hospital them dey? 9,000 people. Which hospital they go fit take?
And then they come where then they go. So some people they come, then they recover, and then they discharge them. So then go out. So not that 90,000 people all they stay one hospital.
They were.
The hospital bed and plenty. You get Gais, you get Rage Hospital, you get Kolebu, plenty. Anna, you know here.
But bed they say the sickness. If you come middle of people, the sickness will increase or they lie. Why they take the people they go Kolebu dentists?
They isolate them.
They for make one hospital. I hear some player be taking hotel, make hospital because of the sickness. Why Ghana only if we do that thing?
Well, we do that thing in several instances. So Pentecost Church giving a convention center, but plenty places. But I mean the question that they asked me, the vaccine, it come. Where 1 month today we they vaccinate people. You hear about the vaccine?
That one I hear.
Where you go take them? You take them?
No, me I no go take. The reason why I no go take say me always I believe in God. Where me I only believe any sickness. If death they are there for everybody. You understand me? One day born, one day die. Where death if they come, look talk to say today they come to you. Anytime death day for everybody. It make like cap. Everybody they wear them. Like right now you know wear cap, but they wear them. You understand me?
So they wear the cap?
They wear the cap, death cap.
Death cap? It ain't my head top. So right now they standing, they wear death cap?
If you pass here right now, they go yes say you die.
Oh, I see. I for GM or?
I don't go for GM. You go know the CM.
Okay. So you they believe say everybody they wear death cap. So whatever go happen, go die if corona kill you, fine.
Fine. Me I be Muslim.
But why say you go on die if option they say you go live? You go just take small medicine then you don't go die.
Let me tell you something. You see that medicine where they take them? Where the medicine from where? It's from where? India. Okay, good. Last time I did TV top, I see say Trabusum they show some interview. Some foreign presidents they gather themselves, they make some meeting. The president thought say we blacks we no get use. He the white no. He say that he no get any sickness. He say he no get any sickness. he no get any sickness, so he no go take that medicine. But we blacks, we no get use. You understand me? So the medicine, the person from then use them.
Then they take them. Yeah, then they take them.
You sure?
Yeah, Israel vaccinate almost 94% of in population.
Oh no. They
believe
the white they won't use we now.
That be your mind. Your mind be say the white won't use you, so you go just die.
They won't kill we. This one be killing me suffering. Okay. You understand me? Killing me suffering. They kill me small.
And so that's the opinion that he's sharing, that the vaccine, even though erroneous anyways, says that the vaccine perhaps may be an attempt by the whites to, as it were, wipe out the black race. But in our latest hotline documentary, Conspiracies, Jabs, and Myths, we try to put some of these theories to test and subject them to the strict proof of science. Let me speak to this boss here. Good morning.
Morning, sir.
How's it going?
Cool.
Wait, you're not wearing a mask. Why are you not wearing a mask?
I don't have mask.
You don't have mask? But they sell the mask around. Why?
A lot of people are not using the mask again. Do you know the reason why?
Tell me why.
It's painful for you to wear the mask every day. Oh.
So it's painful, that's why you're not wearing it?
Wearing the mask.
So what would you rather, to wear the mask and protect yourself, or leave it and be comfortable like this and then contract the virus?
It's good for us to use the mask because we don't know where the virus is coming from. And you don't know the person that will give you the virus. So it's good for you to wear the mask or protect yourself. But the reason why, you see, I have asthma, so I can't use the mask. So I always cover my face with this thing. Whenever I carry someone, I always cover my face with this thing. I don't talk to people by heart. When I carry you, give my money, I sanitize my hand, finish. That's how I do it.
Have you taken your vaccine?
No.
Why not?
Where are they doing it? I don't know where they are injecting the vaccine. Where are they injecting it? Or who is doing that? I hear they are selling the vaccine. I don't have money to buy it, so...
The vaccine is for free?
No, I hear they are selling it.
Who is selling it?
I hear they are selling it at the hospitals.
What we know and government has emphasized is that the vaccines are free. Anybody who tries to sell it to you is...
When we want to register the voter's ID card, they came to our places. You know, this is where they are doing their ID card. So we all went there and do it. So why can't they organize the place? Oh, this is the place where they are doing the vaccine. We always go there and do it, or we can't. But why are they doing it?
So we are told that they are doing it in phases. So the first phase targeted a certain set of people. The first phase has been running for about a month now, with health officials, security personnel, media practitioners, government officials, and so on. But the question I'm asking is that if it gets here, for instance, at Circle, if they put a post here and they say they are vaccinating here today, will you take it?
Yeah, I'll take it. I'll take it because it's very important for us to do it, because we don't know where the virus is coming from. Many people say there's no virus in the country, you get me, but we don't know where it's coming from. Maybe as I'm talking to you, if I have, do you know? You don't know. So I have to take it to protect myself from the virus. Yes, so that I can be free. So that it will stop where... Okay, I'm coming home. If I take the vaccine, will I still use the face mask?
Until when we know that we are safe, everybody will still have to be wearing it. Because now I have taken it, but you have not taken it. Yes, I have taken it, you have not taken it. So, I mean, there's still a chance that you...
Is there any side effect?
That's the question I'm asking you.
I don't know whether there's side effect. So, we should all pray to God. So that nothing bad comes out of it. But when do you read before you inject it? Will they give you something to read for you to understand before you inject it? Or if they come, you are going to inject it?
So essentially, you don't know anything about the vaccine?
No, I don't know anything about it.
I see.
I don't know anything about it. I heard about it, but I don't know anything about it. Are they giving us something to read about it? Oh, this is what the vaccine is all about, so that I can read anything about it before I will inject it. But if I haven't read anything about it, how can I inject it?
Great, so that's picture here. A lot of them expressing thoughts that gives indication that not much is known about the vaccines and the vaccination program in its entirety. But as we try to do these, we try to speak to a few of them to get them to understand what the the vaccination program is all about. So from here at the Kwame Nkrumah circle, like Kwame Nkrumah Entertain, just beyond this stretch. My name is Manuel Kranting, reporting for JoyNews.